Everybody's always like, God, why is Bakugous such a bitch? But man, if I was that sweaty, I would be grumpy too.
Oh man, I can't wait for the new episode of My Hero!
The UA Sports Festival.
I'm sorry, Izuku.
Deku, you bastard!
Young man, you too can become a hero.
1 week later.
Oh man, I can't wait for this new episode of My Hero Academia.
Internships.
Sorry, Izuku.
You bastard!
You too can become a hero.
1.
Yes, I can't wait for this new episode of My Hero Academia.
Stain.
Izuku.
Bastard!
Become a hero.
Is it just me, or am I starting to notice a pattern here? Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory, the show that always sweats the small stuff. Speaking of sweat, you know what I hate? Katsuki Bakugo, the sandy-haired, hyper-aggressive bully from My Hero Academia. I know, I get it. He's learning to accept others and blah, 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 but seriously, dude, get over yourself.
I don't need any of your protection, damn it!
It's one thing to be stubborn and cocky, but geez, dial it back once in a while.
I just want to say, I'm gonna win.
But even I have to admit that, despite his obnoxious personality, he has got himself one heck of a fascinating superpower. While quirks in the Hero Academia universe can range from godlike to totally useless, when Bakugou spun the wheel, he definitely landed closer to the godly end of the scale. If you don't know the show, let me tell ya, he's got himself the power to produce massive explosions. But the way that he activates that power, like Bakugou himself, is, less than pleasant. You see, Bakugou's quirk isn't just making things magically explode. He's no Yoshikage Kira. Instead, Bakugou's explosions are a byproduct of his actual quirk, which is that he sweats nitroglycerin. Or to be more specific, a substance very similar to nitroglycerin which he can detonate at will.
Since you're such a stalker, by now you probably know how my quirk explosion works. I secrete nitroglycerin like sweat from my hand to make it blow up.
Essentially, the sweatier he gets, the bigger his explosions are. And over the course of the series, we've seen Bakugou make some pretty darn big, earth-shattering kabooms, even without his special grenade gloves that store up his, fluids to create bigger blasts. So of course, all this raises the obvious question. How much would Bakugou have to sweat to create blasts as big and powerful as he does? Well, you ought to know by now that that's the exact sort of insane question that I answer on this channel. So roll on some Old Spice and make sure that you're wearing an undershirt.
It's a gland problem.
Since today we're literally working up a sweat to prove how hot under the collar this anime character gets. And spoiler alert, he's producing more sweat daily than the gaming room at your local anime convention. Oh yeah. It's that bad. To begin, we're told that Bakugou's sweat is basically identical to nitroglycerin, and since science knows a lot about how much nitroglycerin expands when it explodes, by measuring a given explosion from the anime, we can work out pretty easily exactly how sweaty Bakugou would have to get to produce it. Now, one thing I'm not gonna do is look at what Bakugou can do in his hero costume, since those grenade gauntlets of his are designed to store his sweat over time, thus making their explosive power more based on how long he's been wearing them, as opposed to how much he's actually sweating. That said, the newest season of the anime has given us a great benchmark. In Season 3, Episode 3, we're given a quirk training montage where each character is trying to push their quirks to the limit in order to expand their powers. We're expressly told that Bakugou is
Plunging his hands into boiling water to expand his sweat glands, then creating chain explosions to increase the scale of his banging attacks.
So, not only are these visually the largest fireballs that he produces in the series, we also know that Bakugou is intentionally pushing himself to his limits here to unleash his full strength, both in terms of explosion size as well as how fast he's making those explosions happen. At first, I thought I could just measure the blast using Bakugou himself as the measuring stick, since he's right there and we know that his cannon height is exactly 172 centimeters based on the character stat cards that pop up between commercial breaks. However, I wanted to be as precise as possible, which, when it comes to Bakugou, is a bit of an issue. He has that Super Saiyan perm thing going on that makes it hard to figure out how exactly exactly as height's being measured, and he almost never stands up straight. Lucky for us though, Bakugo's not the only measuring stick that we have at our disposal here. He's standing next to an oil drum, the exact same kind of oil drum that his fellow classmate Todoroki is using for his training. And with his good posture and flat haircut, this icy hot honor student makes for a much better measuring stick. We know that from heel to head, Todoroki stands at 176 centimeters tall. That means, using his height in this manga profile picture as a baseline, we can determine his pupillary distance, or the distance between the centers of the pupils of his eyes, a measurement that's often taken by optometrists during eye appointments. On average, male pupillary distances are between 5.3 centimeters and 7.7 centimeters. And Todoroki's pupils are exactly 7.62 centimeters apart, so it falls right in that range. This measurement can then be translated over to the training montage to measure the barrel from side to side in this shot, which gives us a barrel diameter of 79.88 centimeters. Finally, we can apply those barrel measurements to the one standing next to Bakugo to measure the diameter of the fireball.